If your nightly site backups take hours to run, or your exports keep flashing a timeout error, you are experiencing the symptoms of database bloat. The most likely culprit is invisible on your dashboard: WordPress post revisions. Every time you make a meaningful edit to a post and hit update, WordPress permanently saves the previous version as a distinct row in your database. Over years of publishing, a small site easily accumulates thousands of these rows. This chart shows a massive pillar of existing revisions. A common piece of advice is to add a retention limit in your settings file to fix the bloat. When that horizontal limit line appears, the historical data remains completely untouched. Capping retention deletes 0 existing rows. To actually shrink your database, you must complete 2 separate jobs. First, capping new growth, and second, running a deliberate sweep to delete the historical excess. Before starting this process, you will need access to your hosting control panel, terminal or SSH access, and a verified recent backup of your site. Completing both halves of this procedure is the only way to permanently shrink your database file and restore your site's performance. Step 1 is securing your safety net. You should never modify core database tables without a guaranteed recovery path. Log into your hosting control panel and locate the Backups tab. Confirm your automated daily backup has a recent timestamp and is marked successful. While you are in the control panel, locate and write down the exact file size of your current database or backup archive. You will need this baseline metric to accurately gauge how much storage space you reclaim at the end of the tutorial. With a verified backup in hand, a mistyped deletion command in the terminal will simply require a quick restore rather than causing permanent data loss. We begin with Job 1, capping new growth. Navigate to the File Manager in your control panel, open your root directory, and locate your site's wp-config.php file. Edit this file directly in the browser using the built-in control panel editor. Using an external FTP client risks introducing line-ending corruption that can take your site offline. The built-in editor also keeps a backup copy you can easily revert. Locate the comment, "That's all, stop editing, happy publishing." Type this definition, setting the constant to 5, strictly above it, or WordPress ignores it entirely. A limit of 5 provides enough history for your authors to undo recent mistakes, without forcing the server to store hundreds of useless drafts per article over time. Save the file. Immediately open your live website in a second browser tab and refresh. If the site loads normally, you have verified there are no syntax errors in the file. This single line of code stops the database from inflating indefinitely. Now we can move on to the actual deep clean. Open your SSH terminal. We are going to execute Job 2, deleting the thousands of hidden revision rows currently suffocating your posts table. Avoid browser-based optimization plugins for large databases. Running inside a web request, they frequently hit the memory ceiling and time out. The SSH process avoids traffic limits, but raw SQL bypasses WordPress functions, deleting revisions while leaving behind thousands of orphaned metadata fragments. Using wp-cli over SSH solves both problems. It avoids web traffic timeouts while correctly triggering the internal WordPress cleanup hooks to clear all metadata fragments. Run your wp-cli deletion command to target old revisions. The terminal processes deletions in batches, outputting a success message for each block. The excess data is now gone. However, deleting rows does not automatically shrink the file size on the server. It simply leaves empty rooms scattered inside the database structure. To reclaim that physical space, type and execute the optimize table command. This command forces the server to physically rebuild the database file, row by row, condensing the data, and finally returning the empty space to the server's hard drive. Without running this final optimization rebuild, your hosting environment will continue to report the original inflated file size. Navigate back to your hosting dashboard and refresh your backups page or database metrics. Compare your new file size to the baseline metric you wrote down earlier. That drastic drop in megabytes is the exact amount of historical debt you just cleared from the server. With a smaller database footprint, your nightly backups will finish rapidly, your site migrations will remain stable, and backend queries will process instantly. If you manage a WooCommerce store with heavily edited product descriptions or a multi-author publication, a single site-wide retention limit might not fit your workflow. You can use a specific PHP filter to assign different limits to different post types. Check the documentation link in the description to apply those custom rules.